Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Nike Kyrie 1. Now as you guys can see, this is the new Kyrie 1 box. Starts as light gray, fades to white, has the herringbone pattern across the entire box. It says Kyrie 1 in metallic red on the front. You have Kyrie's logo right there on the top, and on the back of the box you're actually going to find Kyrie's signature, which is pretty cool. Here's a look at the label, listed obviously as the Kyrie 1, size 9.5 US. The colorway that I have here is black, white, bright crimson, and anthracite, and the retail price sticker is actually ripped off, but these guys retail for $110 US, making it currently the cheapest signature basketball model in Nike's lineup, which now totals 4 athletes, adding Kyrie Irving. So now this is a shoe, guys. There's been mixed feelings on the launch of this shoe, which you would expect with any brand new model from Nike. Obviously, they're in the spotlight when it comes to their basketball models. And just based on comments that I've seen online on several different sneaker websites, there's been a lot of negativity around the Kyrie 1, which I kind of understand, but at the same time, I actually really like this shoe. And the reason why I have mixed feelings is this. I think that the silhouette, the cut, the shape, and the design elements of the shoe is actually pretty good. And especially in this launch colorway, I just really like how the shoe looks. But the colorways that Nike has released since this initial one on December 24th, I can't say that I've been a big fan of. And again, I think it's a good looking shoe. If you go on Nike ID and play around with the customizer, you can make some really good colorways. But what Nike has put out so far, like I said, I just haven't been a big fan of, other than this launch one right here. So this is the colorway that, like I said, first one that came out, it released on December 24th. And it's what they called the Dream colorway, that apparently was inspired by Kyrie Irving's dream to play professional basketball on Christmas, if I remember correctly. Kind of a lame backstory for a colorway, but that's Nike's press release, so who am I to argue with that? But nonetheless, pretty good looking shoe. This colorway is mostly black, and then you do have some red, kind of reddish orange accents throughout. Essentially what they've done here is they've kept the quality fairly simple. There's no natural materials. It's all synthetic, which you kind of would expect from a shoe that has a $100 price point from Nike. So I have no problems with the quality of the shoe. I know a lot of people have kind of talked about it as not being the greatest basketball shoe ever, which again, it's his first signature model. Nike's not going to throw everything at you guys in one single shot. They obviously want to have somewhere to go with the line. So as a first signature model, I actually quite like how these look. So the colorway, you have essentially a fuse upper with a top layer of exposed mesh that is actually quite thick, black in color as you guys can see. And then you have an underlay material of kind of this abstract, random colors, random patterns type of, I guess, print that runs through the insole, and then obviously on the underside of the black mesh top layer as well. It gives the shoe a pretty interesting look. Again, I know not everybody was a huge fan of this colorway, but as a mostly black and kind of red shoe, I really like how these look. You're going to find the kind of Y support extra piece on both the lateral and medial side in red on this particular colorway. It's not as apparent here because you do have all the different colors on the underlay material, and it's pretty much a relatively stiff fuse. You have kind of an awkward seam right here that I'm personally not too crazy about, and you do have extra layers of fuse, very thin, clear layers on top around the toe box and forefoot area, as well as along the lace holes, as you guys can see. But probably the most talked about aspect of this particular shoe is the cut, the heel counter, and this kind of tooth-like design they have going on here in the forefoot. The cut of the shoe I actually quite like. It's not quite a mid, it's not quite a low, it's not quite a high. It's kind of, I guess it is more of a mid, but it has a straight cut as opposed to being on some kind of an angle, which I think more people are used to seeing. But I quite like the height of the shoe, and you guys will get a better look at that when I put them on my feet later in the video. Then you have this heel counter with kind of the spiky design to it. It's pretty much just like a TPU type of material. It's almost like a really hard foam as opposed to a plastic, but it will get the job done as far as keeping your heel from sliding side to side inside the shoe. And again, as far as visuals are concerned, I personally don't mind it. This one looks okay because it's kind of black on black, so it's hidden a little bit. Some of them have actually speckling on there, at least you have that option on Nike ID, and for me that's a little bit too over the top, but nonetheless I think it looks pretty good on this particular colorway. And then you do have this kind of shark tooth or alligator tooth design here around the forefoot area, which is kind of part of the midsole. The herringbone kind of carries over the edges. this is something I actually quite like. I guess on certain colorways it does look better than others depending on which two colors they combine. Black and red looks pretty good. I know it's listed as bright crimson, but it definitely does look like more of a red as opposed to an orange on this particular colorway. That's just my opinion, but nonetheless, again, I like the design of this shoe. It's an interesting shape that I just think looks good. And for the $110 price point, you can't really go wrong with this particular model, in my opinion. You have the Nike swoosh on both the lateral and medial side. It's more of an orange than what you're going to find in the midsole, and then it has a very slight fade to yellow at the very end. On the tongue, obviously, you are going to find Kyrie's logo in Volt Yellow, black laces, as you guys can see, and on the underside of the tongue, you're actually going to find Kyrie Irving's signature there, kind of fused on top with like an extra piece of material, and I believe that is on both shoes. Yes, it is. The insole basically just has Kyrie's logo right there in red. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, there it is. Nothing too fancy about it. And of course that pattern continues into the heel liner, as you guys can see. Midsole is mostly black, at least in the heel area. And then of course you do have the combination of bright crimson and black right here in the forefoot, with the outsole being pretty straightforward. It's kind of like a curvy herringbone, as you guys can see. You have the Kyrie logo right there in the middle, kind of on a clear window, and then on the underside it says JBY. I'm not sure exactly what that stands for. You can see it says 8/13/67. It says Elizabeth, and then it says 9/8/96. All of those dates I'm sure have some kind of significance, but I'm not going to look them up because it's not something that is overly important to me. There's also little other hidden elements inside the actual traction pattern, but again, we're not going to point all of them out. If you want to look up the press releases, see all the little details, you can find those, but for me, it looks pretty straightforward. No major complaints here. It does have air zoom cushioning in the forefoot. I believe it's like a bag like this or something like that. Nothing in the heel. And the midsole, as far as I know, is just pretty much just standard Phylon foam, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that. They feel pretty comfortable on feet, so I can't complain too much. And again, for the $110 price point, you can't expect too much from Nike. They're pretty good about including a lot of stuff if they charge a lot of money for the shoe. So if they charge you only around $100, this is about what you can expect from them. So again, everybody kind of has their own opinions on the Kyrie 1. I personally like how it looks, but I'd be curious to hear your opinions down below in the comment section. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes look and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, so here is a look at the Kyrie 1s on feet. As you guys can see by the cut of the shoe, it is more of a mid-cut in terms of where it ends on your ankle, kind of a little bit above the middle, if that makes any sense. But nonetheless, I think it looks pretty good. As far as the overall comfort and fit of the shoe is concerned, they're relatively comfortable. As you might expect, you have the zoom in the forefoot area, which honestly you can't really feel in this particular shoe. And there's nothing special about the cushioning, but for the $110 price point, again, I think that's kind of what we were mostly expecting from Nike with this particular model. And as far as the upper is concerned, it's a fuse upper. It's definitely on the stiffer side, I would say, especially in the forefoot when they are brand new. Is that something that will change over time? Sure. I suppose that's something that could soften up after some break-in time. But overall, pretty comfortable shoes. As far as width goes, it does have kind of like an internal booty from kind of the forefoot forward, whereas the rest of the shoe from the forefoot back is kind of like just an open regular pair of sneakers. So again, it's a little bit more snug in the forefoot area. So if you have really wide feet, you may want to go a half size up. But for me, I'm wearing my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and length is pretty much perfect. So again, unless you have wide feet, I'd recommend going true to size in the Kyrie 1. So that's pretty much it as far as how they look on feet with a pair of shorts. And we'll take a look at how they look with some pants next. All right, so here's a look at the Kyrie 1s on feet with a pair of black jeans. I think that this shoe, especially considering the shape and the cut, kind of at the middle of your ankle, really does lend itself well to casual wear. It's a pretty straightforward design, and again, it's really down to what you like the look of and finding a colorway that you like the look of to wear these things casually. Obviously, its intended purpose is as a performance basketball shoe, but as with many of Nike's performance products, people like to wear them casually, and this particular model, in my opinion, like I said, just lends itself really well to casual wear, given that you find one that you like the look of. Black and red, really not too hard to wear casually, and again, I just really like how these things look. So that's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of the video is concerned, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Nike Kyrie 1. I think it's a really good shoe. I like the silhouette, I like the shape, I like how they feel, and I think the $110 price point is a good target for his first signature shoe. I expect the price to go up with the second and third and fourth models. That is something that Nike just tends to do over time with anything that ends up being popular, and I think these will continue to be pretty popular over their entire lifespan until we get the second model. I just wish that the colorways get a little bit better, and I'm sure they will. Nike does a good job with colorways and releasing plenty of them, so I am hopeful for the future of the Kyrie 1 and pretty happy with the first colorway. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you are interested in a pair of these for yourself, check out the review page on my website. It'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of my pair that I took myself. That'll give you a better idea as to some of the close-up details that you will not see, in the online stock photos. And whatever colorway is available, I will have buy it now links posted on that page as well. So again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, first link down below in the description, go ahead and check it out. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions regarding the Kyrie 1, questions in general, or suggestions for other sneakers you'd like to see reviewed on the channel, leave your suggestions down below in the comments section. I'll take a look at everything you guys have to say, and of course, answer all of your questions. Subscribe if you haven't already for more sneaker reviews, of course. All my social media information is down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.